Sometimes we don't have a choice, whether we live or whether we die. Some of us don't get to choose those things. But my father did. He chose to die for his country in the Bosnian War. The day my father was shot, my mother made him his favourite pie and waited. She waited for days, until she learnt the news that he had been killed in the line of fire. Four years after the war, our country tried to recover from the loss, the shelling, the genocide, and the rapes in Bosnia. But it was too hard. All of us had lost someone we loved, and we were trying to forget our suffering. Every afternoon, I would venture out into the countryside with my two best friends, Zachariah and Adnan. And together, we would explore things and dream up a better world. We knew the way forward was to bury the past, to study hard.
Stator se sastoji od tri dijela. Glavni dijelovi su mu nepokretni dio stator i obrtni dio.
Glavni dijelo su stator i rod.
At school, I was determined to be a top student with ambitions to go to university. But things don't always work out how you dream them. It happened suddenly. For a brief moment, I lost my sight. My friends thought I was playing around, but the truth was, my body was weakening. It was like a cloud that passed over the sun and extinguished the light in my life. I knew I had to hide this from my mother, but she knew me too well. And she knew that something was wrong.
I on prvo što je počeo gubiti apetit. Prvo je počeo slabo jesti. I onda osjetila sam da se zamara.
I noticed my son was losing his appetite. Every day he was eating less and less. One evening I asked him to get me wood for the fire, but he only came back with a few logs. I asked him, "What is happening to you? You must go and see a doctor," but he refused. The next day I was out. When I returned, he was crying in a small voice. "Mother, mother." I found him lying down. He had a very high temperature. I brought a dish and he was vomiting. And I said, "We have to see a doctor."
Kad je došao, ja kažem, moraš da ideš doktoru. I on je uzeo knjižicu da idem i ja s tobom, nije mi dao ići s
He
njim.
said he would do that, but he wanted to go alone, without me.
It's strange how fear trickles through your mind and cuts a channel into which all other thoughts seem to flow. The doctor needed to do urgent blood and bone marrow tests. There were so many questions and so few answers. No one was telling me what was wrong or why. Not even my mother.
Ja sam odmah, isto ko kad mi je nekakav Bog dao nekakav išaret.
We waited for the test results, and I prayed to God that it was not leukemia. Then the doctors called me and said, "Have you ever heard about leukemia?" And I was shocked. Basim was admitted to Tuzla Hospital, where he was to spend many weeks. I decided not to tell him that he had leukemia. One day I walked into his room and he said, "Mother, are you crying?" And I said, Basim, I'm crying because I'm just sad that you're in hospital. And he said, Mother, there's something wrong, something that you're not telling me. And I said, no. I could not tell him that he had leukemia and that he was so sick. I did not know what to do or where to go. So I went to the Red Crescent to ask for help. A man called Mahmoud listened to my story and he offered to do his best.
الو صباح الخير. فاطمه محمود يوسف مع حضرتك من مكتب البوسنه والهرسك في الهلال الاحمر. بالنسبه لبسيم حسنوفيتش المريض باللوكيميا.
The next day he accompanied me to the hospital and we were told the brutal truth.
We can say now that Basim is very ill. He has very serious disease, acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
دويسين زمرة إما كاكو لوكيميا.
The best plan is to have bone marrow stem cell transplantation. It is necessary to find a way to send Basim to some bigger hospital in Europe, which is very experienced in this field to get real treatment.
Doctor say emergency cases, no way to wait, please. In 1 hour he must get a visa and come to us. And they ask me just to open his account, in hospital. And I do in half hours and I come back. Visa was ready and direct they go by car from Sarajevo to Italy.
For me to live meant that I had to survive the grueling 14-hour journey through mountains, forest, and places thick with snow. Winter was sweeping through our lives, and it was icy. Cancer is a journey, and you walk it alone. The only courage that matters is the kind that gets you from the one moment to the next. You can't see beyond that.
Sine, kako si? Jesi dobro?
Dobro sam sad. Osjećam se puno bolje nego prije što sam se osjećao.
Pa dobro si. Za 10-15 dana idemo u Bosnu nazad.
I told them Red Crescent is responsible with other organization to do the best just to finish this operation to save a life of Basim. And they accept us and they do operation as well. And Basim was healthy after operation and I visited him there. And he was so smile when he met me. He so thanks a lot of Red Crescent, everybody know what they do the best for his life.
When you've been sick with cancer for a long time, the little things in life really matter. Soon, you learn that the little things in life are actually the big things, the only things. I begged the doctors to let me leave Italy for a while, so I could return home and see my best friends, Zachariah and Adnan. My family. I just wanted to be with the people I loved. Maybe for the last time. After months in treatment, I had a different perspective on life. Before it would take me weeks, months and years to discover the meaning of an experience, but now it was instantaneous. I did not want to count the days anymore, but I wanted to make the days count.
Ja pogledam, jeste mi vruće. I dali su nama lijekova, ja njemu kažem, moraš popiti lijekove, popi lijekove, ali svakako drugo...
After a brief moment of health, Basim started to look weak and poorly. He had a temperature, and he did not have the strength to even take a shower. We took him back to Italy immediately. The doctor came to me and said,
I also have a son, and everything we did here for him, I would do for my son also.
everything I have done for your son, I would have done for my own son.
I tada mi je samo rekao, kad će navečer i umrijeti, kaže, mama, umrijet ću ti.
And in that moment, I knew it was over. On his last day, he said, Mother, I'm going to die. And I said, Basim, you're not going to die.
Kako si noće spavao?
Mama, kako možeš to da me pitaš?
Ma bit ćeš ti dobro, ako Bog da, bit ćeš ti dobro.
Na jedan put stane, ne hrče, ne diše, gotovo je. Ja istom počne opet. Tako je 5-6 puta, ko zastane srce, istom ponovo počne opet raditi.
Towards the end, I listened to him breathing. I heard his rough breath blowing out. At 10 o'clock in the evening, my beloved Basim breathed his very last breath.
Pa znači ipak crveni polumjesec je bio taj koji nam je omogućio da idemo. Znači da nije njih bilo, ni mi ne bi u tom momentu ne bi...
When your child dies, you cry out, why? What meaning is there in this life? But in the sea of pain, powerlessness and grief, one has to remember that there are many other children who are in need. There are children fighting cancer, and they demand that we be strong. This is my son's legacy, and his gift to so many. Because of his death, many other children will be saved and treated in the hospital in Tuzla, Bosnia. His death has encouraged Red Crescent donors to give money and medication. This is what passes for hope, and in this way we will all remain faithful to Basim's memory.